Manchester United have improved this season, without a doubt. It's not as if the bar was high after last season when we finished 15th. But as much progress as there has been, Ruben Amorim has one big thing he needs to improve. Because if he can fix this, I'm telling you, United are going to be back in the Champions League next season. Let's discuss it. Ladies and gents, we all know what the ambition is this season. It was for United to get back into the Champions League next season. That's our goal. Right now, we're pretty much bang on target for potentially achieving that. And I want to speak about the one glaringly obvious issue, and it's not just a case of we've seen it against Spurs. It's been a pattern that's happened all season, but now it's the international break. It's time to have a conversation about it, because I'm telling you, if we fix this, we will be in the Champions League. Simple. Let's run through it. Because, look, United right now, heading into this international break, 5 unbeaten. It's a far cry from the last one, where I think we beaten Sunderland, I think, the last one, and then we were heading into the game against Liverpool at Anfield. Obviously, with 2 weeks to think about that. Obviously worked. But this one, largely positive. Frustration with the last 2 games, and a very similar pattern that we saw against Forest and Spurs. But same thing sort of happened against Brighton. I wouldn't say the same thing happened against Liverpool. Speaking about the game and speaking about how United played in that game, Amorim made it clear, right? I've already ran through these quotes, just covering them again quickly. He thinks that the United should have had 3 points from that game, right? If you look at the game, look at the feel, the environment, we have so much to grow as a team because today was our game to win. And they're down there. He's speaking about the first half being better than the second half, which is going to be a big focus of the video in a second. Saying that we need to look at ourselves, right? We were not pressing with the same intensity because we felt comfortable. We need to understand that, but to also feel that if we have a bit more bravery, we can kill this game. And it's why that comment about De Ligt after the game stood out to me. He was saying, look, doesn't want to make mistakes, but he's probably got more quality on the ball than he's showing. When we reach that point, our 3 centre-backs will be the players bringing the ball through, being brave. Ruben Amorim has shown we just won manager and player of the month for October. The results can come. And they have been coming, but these last 2 games have highlighted the biggest problem, I think, in this team. First halves. Now, I said that United were top of this list, and they were until City beat Liverpool 3-0 yesterday. But United are right up there with City in terms of the very best in the league, in terms of how well we're playing in the first halves of games. And bear in mind how difficult our opening 11 games has been. We played everybody in the side of the top 8 apart from Villa. We had the hardest start out of any team in the Premier League. But here's the caveat. That's how good we are in the first half. And I ran through this yesterday. That's how bad we are in the second half. 2nd to 18th. Now, I want you to let me know in the comments. What do you think is causing this drop-off? Because for me, I'm going to put it down to 3 things. This is what I mean about, this is what Amorim, I think, needs to fix. This one, I'm not really sure you can do too much about. The squad quality. All right? The drop-off with and without Casemiro towards Ugarte is quite obvious and quite startling. Saying that, we did concede 2 with Casemiro on the pitch against Forest. So it's not as if we don't concede when Casemiro's on the pitch. But there is a clear drop-off in terms of the squad quality. Now, you might argue that Ruben Amorim is making subs for this. I think this. I've seen this from some United fans. Are angry with the subs that Amorim makes. Apparently, Casemiro had a knock. And the rest of the ones against Spurs, I think, are fine. I think they were fine. I actually think they're all pretty good subs. But it's clear that there's a drop-off between the quality of our starting 11 in certain positions and what we've got available on the bench. I'm not really sure how you fix that between now and the end of this, maybe now and January. You try and bring in a midfielder. I don't think United are going to get the midfielder they want. But I actually think that this is probably the more pressing issue. Because Manchester United, when we want to score a goal, are a better team than Manchester United almost when we don't. That's why I call it wanting control versus wanting a goal. Because when we want a goal, mate, we've been scoring plenty this season. To go back to this. When it's 0-0, when it's the first half, United are one of the best teams in the league. But that sort of approach, and this is the trend of football and the way it's gone, like wanting to be a little bit more direct, maybe a little bit more transitional, because that's the way it's going, then when United reach a point in a game where they don't really want to do that, where they actually would rather control, is it a case of messages being mixed? I don't really think so, because Amorim's down here saying, look, kind of got to look at ourselves here. We're just not pressing the same. We're just not playing the same. Because there is just such a drop-off between that first and second half in terms of the different game states, when it's 0-0, when United concede away at Liverpool and it's 1-1 in the last 10 minutes and we need a goal, we can go forward. Now we know what we're doing. When we're playing Brighton and we're 3-0 up, never mind, let's let it become 3-2. Never mind, we need another goal now, 4-2, good. Forest, 1-0 up to 2-1 down, we need a goal, boom. Ahmad scores and we nearly score the winner. Spurs, 1-0 up, 2-1 down. Then we go and get the equaliser. There's just a lot of evidence now that this Manchester United team, and this might be part of it as well, still haven't quite got that factor in, which every top team needs. It is the ability to see out a game. And was it the fact that Maguire and Casemiro both went off against Spurs and maybe the leaders on the pitch weren't there and then the players in those moments and situations weren't going for the... I think there's only so much you can put down to the fact that Casemiro and Maguire went off. I think so much of it is, as Amorim said himself, like, look at yourself, lads. You just weren't doing things the same way that you were doing it in the first half. And I can't believe how startling that is. I know I've mentioned it in the video yesterday and the live show today, but to be one of the best in the league, to be in a team worthy of relegation. And by the way, can I just say this? We've only gained one more point than Wolves in the second halves of games. It's just specifically the last 45 minutes. That's nuts. But United should be, I think, aiming for the top 4 this season. Right, and part of the reason why I'm able to say this is because of the rest of the league is equally as stumbly as Manchester United. It feels like Arsenal and City are probably going to run away with the top 2 spots. But other than that, absolutely everything is up for grabs. Everything is up for grabs for the team that connects the dots. And right now, Manchester United are more than connecting the dots in the first half and the complete opposite in the second. Is that down to squad quality? Is that down to the inability to just simply see out a game of football without chasing a goal? Is it the fact that they can't cope with the pressures of seeing out a game, or is it all three? And some other... You can let me know what you think in the comments. But this is, I think, the most pressing issue. How does Amorim get United to do what they're doing in the first half for the full 90? What's stopping that from happening? Fix that. United are back in the Champions League next season.